You get it all situated?
Yeah.
Okay. What's good with y'all?
What's good? What's good? What's good?
Episode 4.
4.
Finally back.
Yeah.
Took a couple weeks, but you know,
Yeah.
we're working man the schedules and all that.
Yeah.
And we had an interesting week, bro. Good week. Yeah, good week. It was like Adventures of B&T almost, looked like back-to-back weekends.
Yeah.
Plus the P. We had the Felicia in there on the comedy
absolutely.
show. So yeah, we had some cool shit to go on.
So what we do since we last
Saw
you guys
last time we were together.
with the Cowboys game?
We were at the Cowboys game in FedEx Field,
Yeah.
aka North Dallas,
Oh.
for Sunday only.
I don't know about all that.
It was 3. Okay.
That's any big team. Every
Bruh.
good team travels well with it. Right?
No, bro.
Seriously.
It was 3/4. It was 3/4 Dallas, bro.
When we play against Pittsburgh, it's the same way. When we
Yeah,
play
and it
against
shouldn't be
Eagles,
that
it's the
way.
same way.
This is my thing.
Listen,
But it wasn't even. It's not even that. It's not even that. Just that. It was half, 60% full. Like FedEx was 60% full. It was not anywhere close to a sellout.
So
They've already torn down seats
okay.
around the bowl.
Okay.
So you're saying that that's the state of our franchise right now.
You know what? To be honest with you, it's not the state of the franchise. It's easy to just assume that the reason why it looks like that when you go there is because of the performance of the Skins. I completely disagree.
No, it's not the point.
It's a combination of things. Number one, Cowboys have fans all over the place, but it's not just the Cowboys. It's like that when the Steelers come to town. It's like that when the 49ers come to town. It's like I went to the Raiders game and it was a lot of Raiders fans. I think if you live here and you root for another team, which is common, it's normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
You only really worry about one game if your team comes to town. So you going all your energy, you know what I'm saying? Dallas Cowboys fans will probably go to one game this year, it'll be that game. Versus Redskins fans, working Redskins fans like myself, I'm not going to be able to go to every game. I have no desire to go to every game. So it's like, okay, am I going to go to all 8 games?
Bruh.
No, right?
No, I understand what you're saying. And
Also, then you got to consider the fact that I think the biggest contributor to nobody wanting to go to the games, yes, it matters that the team isn't playing well, but who wants to go through the traffic? That traffic.
Okay, there's a bunch of reasons why FedEx Field doesn't get frequented by Redskin fans and sell out the way it should.
Okay.
The main reason in 2019 is that Dan Snyder's broken the back of the fan base. The Bears shouldn't even be close to halfway.
They have a lot of fans though. They have a lot of fans.
Chicago is in the Midwest.
Yeah.
You should.
But they have a lot of fans.
You grew up with a Chicago Bear fan, brother?
Yes.
Oh my God! Tell me, come on. Bro.
Did I grow up with Chicago fans?
Chicago Bears fan? I never met a Chicago
I
Bears
know a
fan in
lot
my
of
life. In my young like kid.
I knew a lot of
All
them.
right, bro.
Seriously.
All right.
I knew a lot of them.
All right, man. I mean,
But listen.
it's not 20,000 worth. That's what I'm saying.
No, not 20,000 worth. But they also traveled too.
They took O'Hare to fucking Dulles and came up
They
here.
definitely traveled. Oh yeah.
Like, come on, bro.
They definitely traveled.
So it's kind
But
of
the
like.
Bears is a loyal fan base though. So it's not like I guarantee if the Bengals come to town and it look like that, then talk to me. Then talk to me. The big
If Seattle, my thing is this: Redskins fans don't want to go here because they get milked out of their parking.
Yes.
They pay $50 for parking.
right?
They gotta walk up 3 miles from the metro. That's what we did.
Oh yeah.
It was a hike.
And I live 5 minutes away from the stadium.
Right, can't get your car around the jump. When the metro is not accessible, it's a dump. Like there's no elevators. The escalators is only 2 escalators to the 400 bowl. Like,
But,
come on,
but you can't put that on Dan though.
no, it's not. That's not saying that's on
Right.
Dan. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
But I can say
Powell-
this is on Dan.
Powell
I can say this is on Dan. That at least ends in 2026. They are 6 years away from having to know where to go or having to renew their lease in Landover. How long did the Nats Stadium take? About 5-6 years, including the planning and the taxes. So they're coming up on the deadline of trying to find a new place to go.
Okay.
That's on Dan.
Okay.
Because he has backed into a corner. You can't go to DC without changing the name. Virginia's already given Amazon the money for the HQ.
You talking about the name of the stadium?
Yes.
Okay.
Without changing the name of the team. The DC Council does not want to put their power behind the Washington Redskins as DC is currently constituted.
Yeah.
It's liberal, progressive. They're not going to move forward without the name change. At least that's what several councilmen have said over the last 4 or 5 years.
They say not changing it either.
And Maryland doesn't want to do it again. Maryland doesn't want to do it again. They don't want to give you such and such money to build a stadium without the necessary infrastructure. So what we have is him backed in the corner. And so we'll see what happens, but he's coming up on the deadline of making a good stadium, like not a trash stadium like Jack did in Landover. He can make a good stadium, but he's coming up on the deadline. It's almost 2020.
You know it's funny when people talk about Redskins history, and they talk so glowingly of Jack Kent Cooke. I think Jack Kent Cooke was just the lucky owner that happened to have a team that won a couple Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowls when he owned it. But I mean, he wasn't the greatest owner either. I mean, and then he put the stadium there. He's responsible for the Redskins having one of the worst stadiums in sports.
He sunk the DC deal, and then the VA deal fell through.
But you brought up the Nationals Park. We've all went to a couple of games at Nationals Park, and I've said several times, it don't matter where you go, what seat you get, it's a great seat, right? It don't feel like it needs to be a lot. I mean, clearly, you need a bigger stadium for football, but the way it's constructed,
it feels like you're at a park watching a game.
Exactly.
Somebody pick up baseball,
and it's just easy to get. It's easier to get to your seat, so it makes I feel like, regardless of all the bells and whistles, if they get a new stadium, their focus needs to be on how do you make the experience fun. What's not fun is there was a time where there were no cheap tickets. Now there are more cheap tickets, so you can go and you found out you get your day off. Oh, I'm off on a Sunday randomly. Let me buy a ticket, and you can, depending on what your pocket's looking like, you can go to a game.
They're the Wizards.
You can go to a game now.
Right.
The problem is you're going to go to a game in the 400s, right? Mm-hmm. So your mind, like as a person who goes to games, I don't want to sit. I don't want to, be in a bunch of lines. They're coming back and forth. So you usually hit the first or second concession you see. The problem is once you get your concession, you still got to walk all the way up to your seat. By the time you get there, you eat lukewarm food, so it's like you really don't enjoy the full experience of it.
Right. The stadium experience has been complete and utter trash, and I can blame Dan for that as well. The thing is this: Dan Snyder has disintegrated the goodwill of this franchise. Because even in 2012, when Griffin was drafted in and was playing well, even when they were 3-6, people had hope.
Okay.
So where did the hope go? Nobody gives a damn about this team this year. Even with Dwayne Haskins sitting on the bench. And even with the Dwayne Haskins situation where it's a coach that has to play for his job, has to coach for his job and coaching well for his job, might add second. So he has no time or no compulsion to develop a rookie quarterback or put in place things that would help a rookie quarterback play. So and this is all documented, this is him saying this stuff.
Okay.
And then they also didn't want Dwayne Haskins at the 15th spot.
How do you feel about the Dwayne Haskins draft pick?
I feel like if you were going to draft a guy at 15, whether it be Dwayne Haskins or anybody else, I like Dwayne Haskins first one. Let's get it out the way.
Okay.
You need your whole franchise behind the guy.
Okay.
If you're the front office and you're picking Dwayne Haskins and the coaching staff say, no, we don't want Dwayne Haskins, or we don't want quarterback period, or whatever, we don't want this quarterback, that's a problem. So you should have then either got rid of this head coach, or not drafted Dwayne Haskins, or not drafted the quarterback. In my opinion, Jay Gruden was lame duck. They could have got rid of him in January when he couldn't get another defensive coordinator. It's just bad business. Just bad business up and down that organization. Period.
So I'm on the flip side of you. I never liked the Dwayne Haskins draft pick. Do I think he's a bad quarterback? It's hard to tell. I'm not a fan of drafting a 1 year starter for a juggernaut college team.
That's reasonable.
I mean, because how often do they pan out as being great NFL players? And I use the word great. So I'm not looking for if you draft him at 15 on this team, where it's like you have so many holes, you can't satisfy. You mean satisfied wouldn't be solid. Satisfied wouldn't be, all right. He has potential. No. They needed to draft great. This wasn't a great draft pick. So at 15, you can't land great. Then you better land the best player available. And I don't think he was the best player available. I think if the Redskins didn't draft him at 15, he may not have went in the first round. Or somebody would have, like a team that was not very good, maybe would have reached up and got him. But I don't see who would have reached up and got him if the Redskins didn't draft him.
It's a reasonable position to have. I'm sorry, Rell.
Do you think the Redskins was just desperate, because taking a hit on Alex Smith, kind of put him back, because I don't know. I just think the Redskins kind of reached on that because they was a little bit desperate.
I think I feel as though that draft pick was more than just we want this player. I think they wanted it to be a distraction. I think they wanted to hope that it was going to boost the fan base. But when they don't realize this fan base, last thing they need is another quarterback that some people like.
Right.
We've went through that for the last decade. Right. It's even when we were deciding on should Tony Banks start or whoever's backing him up, or when Brad Johnson and Jeff George. Fast forward to you got
Kirk and Robert.
Kirk and Robert, and RG. It's okay, you draft a guy in the fourth, logically, yeah, it's good to have a backup quarterback,
right.
But you don't draft him to do it. You could have used that pick for somebody else. And perhaps had you used that fourth round pick on an offensive lineman, maybe Robert Griffin would still be upright playing for your team.
Right.
So it's the decision that they make, and I feel like I think it's politics being played. I feel like, like you said, if the coach isn't completely behind the player, but the GM is forcing them on him, maybe it's your job, when you were brought in, everybody was praising you as this quarterback guy. And to a degree he was. I mean, look what Andy Dalton did with him. What has he done since he's been gone? Right? So it's there's something there. But he's not a head coach.
Right.
Jay Gruden's just not a head coach.
6 years with your bottom third of running game, and no defense to speak of, means that your hands are in just solely 1/4 of a pot. So no, you're not a head coach. So any Jay Gruden, pro Jay Gruden guy talking to me, can't talk to me about any of the other things while you're actually protecting Jay Gruden. So I don't want to hear that opinion. My opinion is all of them need to go. Everybody needs to go. Everything needs to start off with a flat surface. It needs to blow the whole thing up. Dan Snyder needs to get on any television he can get on and say, "I'm sorry, Redskins fans, I have not done this for 21 years." And then we can start over and get to something. Before that, I don't care. Everything else is BS. I'm going to go to a game if it's free, basically, which we did.
For the record, my tickets were a birthday gift.
Yeah, we don't pay for Dallas. We don't pay for Redskins.
Well, maybe Jay Gruden stayed 6 years with the Redskins just because he's a yes ma'am, yes sir type of guy.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't think so.
Dan Gruden.
I don't think so.
I
think if you look at their failure to hire a defensive coordinator, if you can't hire a defensive coordinator, he's shown a track record of not being able to land a head coach. Rewind back to when he hired Jim Zorn as an offensive coordinator before he even had a head coach in place. To the point where it's like no head coach wanted to come in when you were forcing Jim Zorn on me. Like
Vinny and Dan.
like so if you really expect Jay Gruden to succeed, where it's like, okay, he's the type of guy that he may have some success in the league as a head coach, but he would need to have so much other stuff working in his favor.
Right.
Like people have pointed out Sean McVay, they've pointed out Shanahan and LaFleur. Those are three that they point out that were former coordinators here that are now 3-0 right now. Their situations are completely different.
Right.
You know, Shanahan pretty much got, like you said, they got a new GM, new head coach. Let's go from the bottom. They went and got a quarterback that can get the job done, and they can work around, and
everybody believed them in the building.
You know,
Ron Wolf, I remember this quote from Ron Wolf, and we gonna stop talking about the Redskins. He says, once you draft a quarterback, everybody in the building needs to be pulling behind that quarterback.
Absolutely.
And that hasn't happened at all. I don't even know. I don't remember when the last time that was. Especially not in Snyder era.
No, I think 95% of the people, and that's a good percentage if you win, was behind Robert Griffin in the beginning. I think what splintered it is the next season, not him, but I think it was the way that they handled him getting forced back into the starting lineup. You know, I think they would have if he would have sat down, but it was pressure. It's like, oh no, I don't want this guy Kirk to come in and perform and take my spot.
Right.
It's like, well, now you don't have a spot. You know,
he didn't see the forest for the
But to be
trees.
honest with you, winning cures all. If you go to a Redskins game and they're winning, you won't care that your pretzel is cold.
Right.
And you won't care that your beer is lukewarm. But the beer is always cold. That's a good thing. Beer is always cold.
And just, you know, I'm just hoping that they fire Bruce Allen. So we can move on to
our second adventure.
we can move on to things that made us laugh other than the Redskins every week. We went to the D.L. Hughley show.
Very good show.
On the 21st on
Very
Saturday.
good show.
He came in to a small venue, DC Improv, which was a very nice venue to watch some comedy. I want to just add that.
It was this was my second time at the Improv. The first one was a couple months back. Rell and I, along with Tony and DJ and Blue, we got a couple of guys. We saw D-Ray Davis.
Yeah.
D-Ray only had one opening act, so you know I was just assuming
DL can pay for 2 openings or 3.
That's right.
Well, he
got the bread.
Yeah, so it was definitely an elevation in the quality of. I think.
No, so how was the opening act for D-Ray Davis?
He was pretty good. He was pretty good, but he was by himself. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, and it'll come to me as soon as I get off the air.
Okay.
But it was the skinny white kid that used to be on Wild 'N Out. I can't remember his name right now.
I remember. I know you talking about.
He was funny on Wild 'N Out, but I never remember his name.
Right.
And now I can't remember his name now, but it'll come to me. But he had a good set. He was really good. But DL, when they were announcing the opening acts, I hadn't heard of the Indian comedian Jay, who's pretty funny.
Yeah, it was funny.
But when they said the second one, they said Clint Coley, light bulb. I'm like, whoa, Clint Coley. I follow this guy on Facebook. He's funny, but I didn't know he did stand up.
Right.
So I was like, it's because a lot of these stand up comedians aren't really embracing the social media comedian. So to have a guy like an old comedian like DL, have Clint on his card was very interesting. So I was like, I wanted to see how that dynamic worked out. And then he definitely brought the old school when he had Bodacious, who's a seasoned stand-up comedian. He's not like a household name,
a road star,
but he definitely has a bag.
Right.
He has a bag of tricks, and I thought he was pretty funny.
Very. I also thought all 3 of the opening acts were very funny. I want to see more from Jay Mangan, he had the smallest set, maybe 5
Yeah,
minutes.
like 5
He had a
minutes.
strong 5.
Strong 5.
And he had this incredible joke
Yeah.
about black women
Yeah.
that I can't believe
Yeah.
he pulled off in DC.
He dropped it and then it was
Just-
like, well, change the subject and got out.
Let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
So it was a beautiful set. And then Clint Coley came on with the energy.
The energy, right? He was
Like
so
as soon as he
energetic,
got
man.
on, like he got set up by Jay Manning. It was because that joke kind of like landed like a silent killer. And then it's called like my girlfriend got the joke. I didn't understand the joke at first, so I started laughing. I said, "Don't kill me."
Jay's joke was so funny. It's one of those jokes that where you don't even have to get it. It was just you knowing you didn't get it makes you laugh.
Right.
He was that kind
Yes,
of. That
exactly.
joke was that kind of funny.
Exactly. So Clint Coley came on because I've never heard of him. I didn't see you before we got to the venue.
Yeah.
I got there
After me.
late.
You after me, yeah.
Yeah, I got in time for the show, but late. Anyway, I've never seen him before, and he came out, boom, and hit you with his voice. He first he made a joke about the joke,
Yeah.
to open, and then he just killed, like crushed
Yeah.
the building.
And I was impressed because it was like he freestyle based. He started off by commenting on Jay's performance. He got into his bit. He dealt with a heckler in the crowd. You know, and I'm like, it's funny that, and I was thinking like, man, this is what DL started with. That his whole set would be just
Hecklers.
going back and forth with hecklers and then snapping on people. So to have Clinton doing it, I was like, this is gonna be a good set. So and it's funny because the rewind when we went to the D-Ray show, I expected D-Ray to do it, but D-Ray he was a lot more conversational than I expected, and it was really funny. So I want to ask you this. I know Rell he's not really the biggest on stand-up comedy, but he'll watch it if it's available.
Right.
What type of stand-up do you like? Are you a fan of the old school Michael Collier style where it's like set you up with a bunch of, you know what I'm saying, setups? Are you one for those like political commentary like the Chappelle's and the DLs? Or are you like just a conversation, or you like the funny man type like a Mike Epps? What's your
I like.
what will you find yourself looking at more?
I like the comedians that more so tell stories. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like Arnez.
Okay.
I used to be my boy back in the day. You know what I'm saying? I like that.
The storytellers. Okay.
Yes, Kevin Hart. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you know, one of the best, in my opinion, to ever do it.
He's number 10 on my list.
Number 10.
But we'll get there.
But yeah, I like the storytellers, man. And then of course, you know, the political side, you know, like Dave Chappelle, you know, he's always a gold in my eyes too. So that's definitely my opinion on that.
I'm big on political commentary.
Okay.
I like all. If you're a technician, I like.
Yeah.
Like DL got like just to loop it in. DL is a technician, and he can freestyle and get into you and dig into a heckler. Like so, I love that type of stuff, off the cuff, freestyle stuff. But man, if I can see how you develop that, it's like, oh wow, he put like Chris Rock in Top 5, right?
Yes.
That he has a 5 or 6 minute set in Top 5, like he's going down into this DC improv type basement, and you can see how he crafted the jokes. Like you could like see, you know what I mean? I was like, dang, he's a master. Like DL kind of came off like that to me, like, and a lot of guys like Chappelle comes off like the new stuff, Sticking Stones, and then even the stuff he came out earlier last year with. You can see that he can do this off the top. He's like a technician.
So what I've noticed is,
regardless of the content that you may not.
what I've noticed from going to the DL show and just how comfortable certain comedians are about just talking. And I was watching DL and I noticed I'd heard some of the jokes before. And normally, you know, back in the day, you'd hear, because before they really started cracking down on people recording your shows, you'd hear somebody do the same set over and over and over again. Whereas they're so evolved, and they're so evolved in their joke telling that it's like second nature. Stuff that DL has said, you may have seen this stand up before, but never heard what he said before because he said it on CNN.
Right.
Like, so when you ask him about a topic, you know, it's just satire to him. So he'll tell a joke, even though it has that truth, so it sounds like it's just him talking. And then you fast forward and see how he just took that little piece from a 5-minute interview here, took another piece from a Vlad TV interview,
or his own show,
or Breakfast Club, and all these different spots, or his own show, and now he's somehow taken that and molded it into his whole set. And I'm like, let's do this next level. So I can imagine it's either a blast or a pain in the butt to like be like close friends with these dudes. And just hear, because it's funny, because as a person who aspires to be a stand-up comedian, I don't find myself like constantly working on material when I talk to you guys. Right? But I guarantee you, if I was like more so like in the business of doing stand-up, you'd probably be like, he's overdoing it right now, he must be working on something. Right? So I can imagine they sort of have that where it's like they need people around them.
Right, they'll always bounce off. Yeah, bounce off.
And that's why they end up going, I think that's how they end up going to these rinky dinks.
Right.
Not these improv, but just like when they go to those smaller venues, and people say that they quote unquote bomb. Well, it's like they didn't really bomb.
They're trying.
They're just trying stuff out, and they're just working on things, and you may think, oh man, he wasn't funny, but then a month later, the Netflix special come out or whatever streaming service, and then boom, like, yo, he just said that same joke, but now I see what he did. He used that 5-minute set on us, and now that joke is 10 times funnier. You know, so it's like it's the art of stand-up comedy.
It's just not sold to DL Hughley, man.
You know, it's
not sold.
I think he's definitely not for the millennial, the younger end of the millennial and younger, because he's not as, what's the word I would like to be? He's just not as I guess not as hip. He's not trendy enough. You know, I think once you see a grown man wear a fedora, you automatically just put him in, that's my dad, that's my uncle type of category.
That's OG.
You know, like seriously, I think that's what I think the way they appear automatically will put him in a different box.
It's just not funny to me. Like, take for granted, Eddie Murphy, you know, he's a little older, so he's not as like that's, I don't want to say as funny, but he definitely changed his style when he does his comedy and stand-ups and movies and TV shows or whatever.
Okay.
But even back then, Eddie Murphy still has me dying laughing. You feel what I'm saying?
Well,
Richard Pryor has me dying laughing. D.L. Hughley doesn't hit.
Well, it's a little. That's apples and oranges in a way, because you naming people who are A-list, you know what I'm saying, movie stars who get A1 scripts, who get A1 roles, and get to actually put themselves into the roles.
Right.
D.L. Hughley also really never had a lot of movies, but
he's never been in.
But when he was in The Brothers, he was funny in The Brothers.
Yeah, he was.
He was funny in that movie.
Because I think his natural persona can come off on screen. Like, some people can't put that on screen.
You don't get the opportunity to.
Like, Chris Rock doesn't really come off on in the movies as the same guy that can command that stand-up stage.
Right.
So it's like Top 5 was his best movie in my opinion.
Okay.
It just doesn't.
CB4 is always my favorite Chris Rock.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yo,
CB4. He was a star of that movie.
Yeah, okay.
And it was hilarious.
Shout out to CB4. 1998. So Top 5 was Chris Rock's like best him. That was like him trying to be grown up in.
Okay.
I guess that there's supposed to be serious type of comedy.
Okay.
Like his Woody Allen appearance. You know what I mean? Trying to be more adult with it. You know what I mean? But I don't even know where I was going with that.
But okay, let me me get back. I need to, you know, because he's not the only person. He's not the only person who said this. When I was like, I'm really excited. I'm like, oh, what you excited about? What you doing for your birthday? I'm like, oh, I'm going to the Hulu show. And they're like, some people were like,
it's not everybody's.
some people were like, well, not every, some people were like, who? I'm like, D.L. Hewley. And I tell you what it is. When I was younger, and D.L. Hewley used to be the host of Comic View.
Right.
He was just another comedian.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was good enough to be a host, but I really didn't focus. I mean, Comic View was like hit or miss. Maybe you find some people funny, maybe not. You know, back then to me, Arnaz was the funniest person on Comic View at the time for me. I thought DL's set was the second best of the Kings of Comedy. Cedric was Cedric, and he didn't, you know what I'm saying? I think I'm not about to call no brother dude delicious. That was hilarious, you know? And I think even Steve had some, I feel like the way they feel about Dio, I feel about Steve, where Steve just, his I don't know, I'm not going to brag on anybody, so I'm not going to comment on Steve or what I think about him, but I'm not going to say he's not funny. It's just the other stuff with Steve is just like,
there's
you know,
extra.
But there was a special that D.L. Hewley had after that called Come Home With Me. And that special was what made me like D.L. Hewley, where it was before, like, he was really a political, you know what I'm saying, satire, you know what I'm saying, in that arena. He was just telling a story. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite specials. Really good.
I need to find out.
And it's just, I don't know. I just always got D.L. Hewley.
I just think he's like a workman's comedian. Like,
okay,
he'll have some drier spots or something like that in certain places. I don't think that he had a dry spot in that set that he brought on Saturday.
He was just a pro.
Yeah, just a pro. He's a pro, and I think if you sat inside, like, I'm not a big Mike Epps fan as far as watching him on as his watching his special.
Right, but you did tell me you thought his special, his stand-up was good.
When I went to the Constitution Hall, I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
Like, he was killing it the whole time. But that's him being improvisational. That's not him trying to create jokes. He's not a joke creator like D.L. Hewley is. And I appreciate the joke creation, even if I don't find it funny.
Right.
You know what I mean? I appreciate that level of craftsmanship. You know what I mean? So,
like, for instance, like Rell is the younger, represents the younger generation, and I think the face of the young comedy was definitely Kevin Hart.
Right.
So I think the majority of the people between the ages of 23 to 30 are going to have Kevin Hart as like their number one, number two guy. And for me, I think what he was able to accomplish as far as his first four specials. Like the first one,
seriously funny.
No. His first one was Wrong Little Man. I think when he did that one, it was under the radar, and then once Seriously Funny came out, it woke everybody up to him, and I think that made people go back and watch the other one, and it's like set him up for it set his career.
So I remember Kevin Hart from Paper Soldiers.
He wasn't the same Kevin.
No, that's what I'm saying. I remember Kevin Hart from Paper Soldiers, but then I looked out for, like, I saw it on Comedy Central.
I think the black delegation was waiting for Kevin. Though we were ready to open. You know what I'm saying, receive him with open arms. It's like, you know, he made it with Rockefeller. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And we like. I love Paper Soldiers, by the way.
No.
So plain. It's like it was like we're laughing at you, not laughing with you type of performance, right?
Yeah. It's so bad.
Right?
It's funny.
And it's like how you can look at D.L. Hewley and not really have a way to see who he is, because he haven't had a movie that sort of like reflects who he really is. Right. I think it took Kevin to Think Like a Man for that to happen to him. I think once that happened, plus the Seriously Funny, then his specials, I think that pretty broadened his horizon, and people started really saying, okay,
what's his best special?
I'd have to say Seriously Funny, only because if you don't have Seriously Funny, you don't get Laugh at My Pain. You know, I don't think you get his or his What Now. I don't think you get those.
Well, we went to the What Now show in DC.
Yes.
And I found the show, again, I found being at the show funnier than watching it
Yes.
again.
That was a great event.
Yes, it was like it's
The
show itself and
Plastic Cup Boys.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh yeah,
really
no,
showed
he
out.
was hilarious. Spanky's hilarious. That was his openers in DC, but
It was. I sort of knew that unless watching that one, I sort of knew that unless Kevin like takes a couple years and then comes like recharge. I sort of knew that like from a stand-up standpoint, he was going to take his reputation was going to take a hit because I felt like you just saw his formula playing out over and over again. It's like okay, it's like he's just saying, hey, let's take my formula and let's see what else crazy stuff that we can throw in here to make it funny. I think like you already had
award is welcome.
Yeah.
And he needed probably to sit back, do some more movies, take some time off for the road. But he was also trying to build his brand. He had the LOL network trying to come out and trying to put.
He stretched himself really thin, but he just works.
And now
because I was even. That's funny. Not funny though. Hope he has.
No, respect. No, for bringing from Kevin Hart. I was just saying he's gonna have to sit down.
No, but I even when he was doing the Real Husbands of Hollywood, I thought that was like, that was even.
All the movies, the shows. I like Real Housewives of Hollywood. Kevin Hart's funniest special to me, the one that I watch over and over again still is probably Seriously Funny.
Exactly. Well,
I like Little Bit Man, and I love Laugh My Pain, but Seriously
so
Funny.
I think if you say because the three in the consecutive one when you did Seriously Funny, I think he gave you so. It's funny when people will say, oh, he's not, and I say my thing is okay. For those type of comedians, you say they're not funny, but yet you'll use stuff that they say in your normal conversation.
Right.
It's like I just think like it's how
I don't understand that. I don't think Kevin.
Everybody says pineapples, bro.
You know what I'm saying? I think
wild.
I mean
he delivered jokes that are memorable. Period.
And I challenged one of my friends. So listen, I like Mike Epps. Don't get me wrong. I said, but how many things has Michael Epps offered to the stand-up comedian offered to the regular dialogue?
Right. It's more so his movies.
It's the movie, and I feel like that's a different question. If you ask me who's better in movies, Mike Epps hands down.
Right.
Mike Epps hands down.
Right.
But that's a different topic for a different day. We only talking about stand-up.
Yes.
And as a stand-up comedian, Kevin Hart he gives you so much.
So I think it's hard pressed to keep him out. Anybody to keep him out the top 10 is their top 10. Like who else maybe flying under the radar or just even like in your top 25 that you got?
My top 25, my favorite top 25, not to be confused with who I think is the best.
And we posted it
or
on
the
IG.
greatest.
He posted his on IG. I did not post
I did.
I didn't have a particular order.
So, the obvious ones that are on the list, clearly I have Dave Chappelle as my number one. I think Eddie would easily be number one if Eddie had more stand-up work.
What do you think? Okay, just quick segue into it. What you think about him coming back? Like,
I can't wait.
Anticipating?
I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's what I wish though. I wish he would have been able to come back before Charlie died. I would have loved to like see Eddie and know that your brother. Like I just would know how that feel. Because it's like from the millennials know more about Charlie because of the Chappelle show than they do Eddie and all of his movies. Like a lot of the millennials, the only movie they know about is Coming to America. It's like they don't know how funny like Beverly Hills Cop is all time. Boomerang, he was the man in Boomerang. Harlem Nights. So I tell all the time, like Eddie Murphy is my all-time favorite. You know what I'm saying? Entertainer because of the movies he gave. Beverly Hills Cop 2. The Distinguished Gentleman is so underrated. Nobody talks about it, but that movie is so genius.
It's hilarious.
It's so genius.
Distinguished Gentleman, go back and watch it if y'all.
It's so Distinguished Gentleman.
It's about politics and him.
A scam artist.
He's a con man getting into the Senate, and it
And
feels like
John
you can do that.
Johnson.
You can do that in 2019. Like it's crazy. My favorite Eddie movie, since we're talking about that, is Trading Places.
I think that's a good one.
I don't know. Mine's life, bro.
See,
I've heard
that's
that too.
Life,
I've heard that
life.
too.
life is, to me, the ending is so like sad to me because they're just still old and in prison.
I mean,
It
And
sucks.
Yeah, like
it
that sucks. Like to me, I just everything, all the funny stuff that happens up until then, just like it's drowned out by me remembering the ending.
Yeah, the only way would have saved that is if somebody woke up out of a dream and they're still young.
Right.
You gotta think though, Eddie made that movie.
No.
He made that movie.
Him and Martin, that was a collaborative effort.
You're right, but take Eddie out of that movie, right?
Take Martin out of that movie.
Bruh, it's hard because I feel like Eddie.
That's like saying Will Smith made Bad Boys. They both made that movie. Yes, Eddie is the biggest star. Eddie is the
It's not even just the big
A1.
stars. It's like, bro, like Eddie was just had me dying laughing the whole time. Not to say Martin didn't have funny parts, you know what I'm saying? Even like Bernie Mac for the little bit of roles that he had in the movie. Bro, everybody remember, I'm the Babbitt. Everybody remembers little stuff like that. But Eddie constantly had funny parts within that movie, bro. Continuous.
I thought they both.
It was definitely a good collaboration.
To be honest with you, while I love a lot of Eddie movies, one of my favorite Eddie movies that people don't really know about or don't talk about is Another 48 Hours.
Mm-hmm.
Another 48 Hours is good.
That, I mean, 48 Hours was good, but Another 48 Hours,
It might have been better.
it was definitely better. With him and Nick Nolte, man, that was a really good combination.
That's when R-rated movies were R-rated movies.
So, I had, so to get to the list, I had Chappelle number 1, Dave number 2, Bernie number 3. So that was my top 3. Number 4 and number 5 were, you know what I'm saying, I definitely had Jamie Foxx in there.
Funny.
Martin Lawrence is my number 4 because You So Crazy is one of my favorite stand-up specials. Chris Rock is number 6.
I'm crazy for not
man.
having Martin on my 25.
Chris Rock goes down on my list, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
That's understandable.
I mean,
But Jamie Foxx is number 5 on my list, and I feel like if you ask people who their favorite comedian was in 2000, Jamie Foxx, because he had 3 specials. He had three specials by then. And I Might Need Security was like,
I think Chris Rock was in the runner for that because
he had
white people because of Saturday Night Live.
But what I'm saying, no, I'm not saying.
He still had
I'm not saying.
specials.
I'm not saying Jamie was the only one. What I'm saying, I feel like because it was been so long since he's done stand up that people sort of forget how great those specials were.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I Might Need Security came out. I remember everybody was in the house watching that movie. You was watching
Jamie
that.
Foxx is one of the most talented performers.
When the Bama go to the piano, or he started playing the piano, he started singing, and he's cooking her, and she's like, don't even realize she's like the butt of the joke. I'm like, yo, that is cold. Jamie Foxx is my favorite thing Jamie Foxx said on I Might Need Security was like when he met Prince. And, and he said the security guard was like, he's like, you looked at his eyes, didn't you? Jamie, he said, so what you do? He said, shit, I've been fucking her for 2 years, man. I was like, damn, you going at a lesson like Prince, but that was a good one.
So
man.
He said,
okay,
motherfucker, that's you. Motherfucker, that is you.
What do you?
And I followed him. He's like,
I feel like Jamie Foxx is underrated though, man.
So let's see. You asked who on my Bill Burr is my number 7. I think when people see Bill Burr on my list, they like, what?
I think Bill Burr is hilarious, but I think he's really high on your list.
Bill Burr, and the good thing about that is Bill Burr, most of his specials, if not all of them, are all on Netflix. So if you ever want to find out how funny Bill Burr is, you can definitely go and watch him on Netflix.
And F is for Family is a funny show.
And his latest one, I tell you like this, if you really want to appreciate Bill Burr and you're already a Chappelle fan, you watch Sticks and Stones, then go watch Bill Burr's Paper Tiger. And you can see like, it's like when your mind is already on that, oh, he ready to go there type of comedian, you'll definitely see how.
Bill Burr is not scared to say anything. So yeah, I saw him bombing in Philadelphia. They was booing him bad, and it is the most hilarious.
And he probably enjoyed it too.
Yeah, he was.
He probably reveled in it.
He was killing through the booze.
Yeah, he's probably reveling in it.
It was hilarious. So I think yeah, Bill Burr. I just think he's high on the list. But
that's and you know what I expected. I expected for my list to make some older people like, what, young buck, you don't know what you're talking about, because I have Richard Pryor my number 9. You know, and a lot of people will have Richard Pryor at number 1. I'm like, well, I can't say Richard's my number 1 stand up when I don't know a name of not one of his stand up specials. You know, I've seen
a lot of them was live at.
I've seen bits of his stand ups, but not, you know, just one special. Red Fox, same thing. He's number 15 on my list. I think if I'd have been able to watch Red do his thing, he'd probably be number 1, not Richard. But Red, because Red was fun. Red was just, he was just
scrolling like some long.
He was just go for it.
Yo, he used to say some wild.
So I'm not going to put him in order, but a couple of people who people will probably be like, who? I said Bill Burr. Mm-hmm. I think people underrate Ari Spears. He's in my top 25.
He's a dick.
That's fine, but he's hilarious. Let's see.
I don't understand like why you hate like Faizon Love. Why do you hate on?
Well, Faizon Love, I've never seen him do stand up, so he won't make my list.
He's hosted.
Russell Peters.
Russell Peters is hilarious.
Is on my list. Mm-hmm. Aziz Ansari is on my top 25 list. Hilarious. Tom Segura is on my top 25.
Tom Segura is.
That's another one.
Really, really.
Just like Bill Burr, you can Netflix him.
Let's break for that. Yo, streaming service, like just one of my thoughts is streaming services have done for comedy.
Yes.
Just like it's like an evolution. It's like they HBO did something for comedy, with Comedy Jam, and then Chris Rock specials, and then everybody else, George Carlin, whoever.
I agree.
And this is like next level. They opened up comedy and to a whole new world. Like I didn't know who Tom Segura is for real.
And you know who should be ashamed of that? Comedy Central. Mm-hmm. Because all of these guys worked through Comedy Central and they had the opportunity to be putting these guys on for full specials, and they
dropped the ball.
They gave some like small platforms to do their specials, but not the way Netflix is doing. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you already have on demands, you have viewership.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Now don't get me wrong. There's some stand-up specials that I seen Tracy Morgan's on Comedy Central.
We're gonna extend.
Okay, I have seen. I've seen Tracy Morgan when he came back from his near-death injury. Mm-hmm. He did okay on the Comedy Central stage. Mm-hmm. I think that was Kevin Hart. Might have been his first one. Would have been when I saw it was on Comedy Central. So they did, even if it wasn't a Comedy Central special, they aired it on here. That's how I saw it. Right. JB Smooth. He's not on my top 25. He's not on my top 25, but he might be in my top 35. I don't know how, but JB Smooth on stand-up is so hilarious. And it's funny because for the first 10 years of who JB Smooth was, I didn't know who he was. He would always be that weird, funny-looking black dude on those VH1 like ranking shows, like One Hit Wonders or Funniest Moments, and you'd have JB Smooth coming, and nobody I know we'd be like, who the fuck is this guy? And nobody would know who he was. And then he just started building his brand, and his stand-up was so funny. And it's like this one part when he was talking about the white bands, and he was like slamming the door shut and like, shh. It is like he's just very funny dude. Though we talk about stand-up, my favorite thing about JB Smooth was when he was in the Christmas movie, and he brought his sister-in-law, invited his little mistress to the Christmas dinner, and they were in the kitchen, and he was like, why would you do that? And then his wife walks in, and she's like, do what? Who puts paprika in potato salad? And when he said it, like, the one, it was so funny because everybody puts paprika in potato salad, but it's the way he did it. It was so funny. And JB Smooth is underrated, but he's not on my top 25. I think Russell Peters would probably be the one to catch most people off guard, but Russell Peters,
Not if you watch the specials.
He's probably, if I'm not mistaken, he's probably the highest earning stand-up comedian worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Peters
is
the highest earning. That's not Kevin Hart. That's not Dave Chappelle. Russell Peters, he's global with his comedy, and he's Indian, and he's just hilarious, man.
Knocks people out.
So I think the few people that didn't make my list, that people say, I think Mike Epps was the only person somebody asked me about, like, how come he wasn't on my top 25. Let's see. I think I had one person ask me about Steve Harvey not being on my top 25. Cedric the Entertainer's on my top 25. Cedric's
every special he's done.
Cedric's giving me a good amount of specials. I'm like, yo, Cedric's funny. I think and the only two females that made my list was Samora and Monique. But if I was to sneak in another one, it would definitely be Ali Wong. I think she's like just so funny.
She's another Netflix generated person. I loved her first special. Not as much the second one.
I like the second one too.
It's cool. I mean,
so,
you know, a lot of stuff you can't relate.
You know what I think it was? I think it was because I was just getting into fatherhood. And she was just getting into parenthood. So it's like I sort of understood because I watched. You know what I'm saying? My girl gonna go through or something. Like I sort of understood it a little more.
Right. Yeah. I haven't gone through that whole process where she detailed in. No, we don't.
So Joe Coy is not on my top 25.
He's kind of going.
His not this last special, but the special before that was really funny.
Okay, I'll probably.
This one he took a step back, but it was still good.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Noah
is hilarious. We watched.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. I'm not sure Daily Show, but
he's hilarious. I think he'll definitely be in my top 50.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the funny thing is, I specifically asked 5 to 10 people to give me their favorite 25, and I wanted to see a couple things. I wanted to see how the list varied, but I got the reaction that I sort of expected I would get, which is sort of like what Rell said. Was like top 25. I can't name 10, and it's like there's a lot. Like comedy is so like laughter is so universal, but stand up is sort of like it's faceless outside of like the lightning rods of like a Kevin Hart,
Eddie Murphy.
You know, it's like it's crazy, but it's like so much funny.
But you can throw one on. Like
Jim Gaffigan.
Oh
my goodness.
Hilarious. Brad Schweitzer.
Yes.
I don't know
Bert.
how to say it. Bert.
Yeah.
Bert Schweitzer. Hilarious special.
And then Bama came out with no shirt on.
No shirt on.
This fat white dude a hairy fat white dude coming who stand up with no shirt on. I'm like, okay.
His special.
This is going to be
His special is top 15. Like if you have Netflix, go watch that. Definitely. If you're trying to find a stand-up comedy show special, go watch that one. But like I have Amazon, I'm a Prime member too, so I watch I got HBO, so I watch like Dwayne Perkins. Like it's like you can watch White Snack, watch Snack's specials funny. Alonzo Biden has a few specials that are cool. They're political, so it may not hit for some people as much as other people, but and that's a lot of black white jokes too. So you said you thought Bill Burr was high on my list, and that's understandable. Mm-hmm. I think you asked I think maybe some people wouldn't agree with where they are on the list. I think the biggest surprise on my list, I would probably say, is that I had Joe Rogan on my list. Because a lot of people. We're gonna stop this, and then we're gonna record it. So we're gonna save that. Part 1. All right.
Joe Rogan. Most people know him from being the commentator on UFC
or
Fear Factor. So they don't know that like he got to stand up, and this dude.
I know him from News Radio.
He's so
I'm old.
Funny. He's so funny. So like I just said, if you watch Dave Chappelle and you watch Sticks and Stones,
it's the same thing.
You watch Sticks and Stones and you go and watch Bill Burr and you die laughing through Bill Burr. Cause I tell you like this, people who are like on the fence, like I'll give him a try. he's going to say something in the first 5-10 minutes of that special. It's going to make you dial in. Like, I think I can watch him. He said something. Now I want to see what he got. So I'm telling you, I've watched it 3 times already. He says something that's going to. It's like, ooh, I wonder how they're going to react to this. Oh shit.
Well, let's.
I then went and watched Joe Rogan's special last year.
With last year,
and it fit right in.
Yeah, all 3 of those.
Damn me, bro. Like I was like Joe Rogan do stand-ups.
Yeah, go watch. He has 2 or 3 network specials, Netflix specials. Then he has another one that's just on Netflix. Dude is legit. Like Joe Rogan.
I love his podcast too, by the way.
Podcast is cool. I think he has a blind spot for in race politics, but we don't have to. Yeah, I Joe Rogan on his podcast. I'm just talking on his podcast.
Okay.
Only I think he's okay. He just had Cornel West on, which is a great get as far as black guest.
Okay.
The only guest here that doesn't fight, like that's the only black guest that doesn't fight.